What's happening, everybody? John Hendricks here, coming at you with another episode of The Drive here on Boot Crew Media, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Well, on Friday, we learned that the Falcons have pried away co-defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen to be their defensive coordinator. So it leaves a vacancy somewhat for the Saints. And so what we're looking at is obviously, hey, it sucks because he's staying in the division, going to the NFC South rival. That's never ideal. And, look, for New Orleans, they had co-defensive coordinators. So Ryan Nielsen, if you don't know, which is a shame because he's been with the team since 2017, but he's worked primarily with the defensive line, and then he got to bump up to co-defensive coordinator after Dennis Allen became the head coach. Nielsen's very smart. He's very intelligent as far as the way he teaches the game, very tactical approach, hands-on approach, used a lot of defensive rotation, got the most out of players like Carl Granderson, Sheldon Rankins, even guys like Marcus Davenport, Cam Jordan, using a rotation by committee type approach. Think of guys like Shai Tuttle. I mean, that entire defensive line over the past several years has really been a pretty strong suit up until last season because, the run defense obviously kind of fell off, and the pass rush, Saints were getting a lot more kind of from their linebacking core. But, this is never a good space to be in because you lose a guy like him. And then Chris Richard has been obviously linked to other places and job interviews now with being a defensive coordinator. And look, Dennis Allen does call the play calls and stuff, but Chris Richard's responsible for the secondary, Ryan Nielsen now defensive line. And look, I don't think it stops there because you got a lot of Saints players that are about to be free agents. Davenport's obviously one. Guys like Kentavious Street, David Onyemata. I mean, there are, when you look at the current amount of players on the roster right now that are coming back, it's pretty small, minute, especially in the defensive interior. So some of the players could follow Nielsen to Atlanta. We've seen that in the past that, some players that have gone swap division. Tyler Davison is one that comes to mind and such. And, right now it's tough because New Orleans has seemed to essentially, I guess, stay put right now and just kind of doing the run its course type thing, run it back. But you're going to have to realize that you're going to lose some of these prominent coaches, and it would have been nice to keep an eye on them. But, guys like Peyton Turner, this is a crucial time for them because for a former first rounder, he's expected to get a little bit more work, obviously, this season. And, look, he's got to shed that label of being a potential bust because, it's really – he needs another coach that can maybe inject some new life into him. And obviously the buck doesn't stop there. But, going to a division rival, seeing these teams kind of get an improvement. Panthers are another one. They hire Frank Wright, reportedly going after Vic Fangio. I mean, this division is for the taking, right? And so far, we've seen other teams try to make the moves to do that. New Orleans, Tampa, really quiet, kind of a little bit unnerving, if you will. And so we'll kind of have to see how it plays out. But the Saints are going to have to figure out, at least at a minimum, to get a new defensive line coach. So maybe somebody has a good, fresh perspective for things. And it may not stop there because they may lose Chris Richard, and it may open up a defensive coordinator spot. Obviously Nielsen called a lot of plays during training camp preseason. Richard had a hand in that too, but Nielsen was a strong, authoritative voice, got the most from his players, very well respected, a guy that just brought a ton of energy and passion to what he does. And you look at what Cam Jordan tweeted out yesterday about his support and him not being surprised. We're not surprised either. I mean, this is a guy that was linked to the Packers a while back, LSU trying to court him, all this types of things. So very unfortunate they lose a coach like that. But again, these types of things happen. We'll have to see how it plays out, obviously, and be sure to stay tuned to more on Boot Crew Media. And then obviously, look, don't forget to use that code BOOT for the betting upcoming this weekend. DraftKings Sportsbook, Joe Burrow taking on the Chiefs. Obviously, that's a big matchup, a lot of smack talk there. And then the 49ers and Eagles, huge matchups, huge ramifications. We'll have to see how it kind of plays out. And don't forget Pelicans basketball, obviously, is in full swing, and hockey's around here too. So thanks again for tuning into another episode of The Drive. I'm John Hendricks, signing out.